Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're unpacking something we all grapple with, navigating change and stepping into new beginnings.
Yeah, big topic. And you shared that really insightful conversation from the Reset Button podcast.
Exactly. Their episode called How to Deal with Change and Embrace New Beginnings.
Right.
So our mission today is to really dig into the core of what the hosts, Jake and Maya, were discussing.
And figure out how their advice can maybe help, make sense of those inevitable life shifts.
Yeah, definitely.
What struck me right away, actually, is how Jake and Maya, they really zoom in on the emotional side of it all.
Mm-hmm.
They point out that whether you're the one, making the change or it's just happening to you,
Right.
there's often this underlying feeling of loss, kind of a grieving for what was familiar.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Even when the change is something you wanted.
Exactly. It makes you think about how even positive changes can bring this unexpected emotional weight.
Absolutely. And Jake's personal story really hit home for me there.
Oh, the one about his job.
Yeah, leaving his corporate job to start his own business.
Yeah.
It was something he actively wanted, but he still felt,
Scared.
incredibly scared. Yeah. And second-guessing himself.
Yeah.
It's just such a powerful reminder that those feelings, the doubt, the uncertainty, they're totally normal.
Even when you're moving towards something good.
Right. Why do you think that is? That fear, even with positive change?
That is a great question. Maybe if we connect it to some broader psychological ideas, it could be about our inherent tendency towards loss aversion.
Okay.
Even if the potential gain is huge, the fear of losing what's known, what's comfortable, that can be really powerful.
Right. That makes sense.
So then Maya's point about acknowledging that discomfort, actually allowing space for it, that becomes even more crucial, doesn't it? It's about resisting that urge to just immediately, paper over it or fix it.
Right. They talk about this uncomfortable middle zone being key for growth, which feels almost counterintuitive.
Totally. You may naturally want to escape discomfort.
Right. Yeah. So what makes that space so vital for actually moving forward?
Well, think of it like this. That uncomfortable middle bit, it's often where our old identities, our old ways of being start to kind of dissolve.
Okay.
And that makes space for something new to emerge. If we just rush past that feeling, try to bypass it,
You miss something.
you might miss crucial lessons or maybe adaptations that need to happen. And then Jake and Maya pivot to this really interesting reframe.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing change not as a glitch or a problem, but as a fundamental feature of life.
Wow. Okay. Change is a feature, not a bug.
Exactly.
Mm.
How does that shift in perspective strike you?
It feels powerful. Like it shifts everything. It's like moving from constantly fighting the current to, I don't know, learning how to swim with it. And Jake's question, what's this moment trying to teach me? It's so simple, but
Wow.
it's profound, right? Yeah. It immediately flips the script from feeling like a victim of change to being curious about it.
Exactly. Adopting a mindset of inquiry, you could say, rather than resistance. Now, beyond this sort of crucial mindset shift, they also offer some really practical tools.
Okay, good. Like what?
Well, journaling is one that stands out. Maya suggests asking yourself these pointed questions. Like, what am I letting go of? And what am I stepping into?
What do you think the power is in actually putting those thoughts down on paper?
I think it makes the abstract tangible, you know? It forces you to actually articulate what might just be swirling around in your head as these vague anxieties or excitements.
Yeah, that makes sense. Gets it out of your head.
And Jake's idea of writing letters to your old self or even your future self.
Oh, right. I like that too.
It adds another layer, doesn't it? It creates this kind of narrative bridge.
Between where you were, where you are now.
And where you hope to be. Yeah. That act of building a narrative can be incredibly helpful in just making sense of the transition.
Gives it shape.
Right. Provides a sense of continuity, maybe even purpose.
Okay, so journaling, letter writing. What else?
Another key thing they highlight is community support.
Yeah. That's huge.
Maya really emphasizes connecting with others, friends, maybe a therapist, or even just finding shared experiences through things like, podcasts.
Yeah, totally. Why is that connection so vital during these times?
Well, I think fundamentally it combats that feeling of isolation.
Which can be so overwhelming when things are shifting.
Exactly. Just knowing that other people have gone through similar stuff, or even just having a supportive ear. It can make a massive difference in your resilience.
Definitely. And building on that, Jake brings up managing expectations.
Oh, that's a good one.
He reminds us that starting something new doesn't mean you need to have, like, all the answers right away.
Which is such a relief to hear, honestly.
Right. It's more about being open to the unknown, I guess.
That's a really important point because the pressure to have it all figured out immediately, that can be totally paralyzing.
For sure.
So my suggestion to just focus on the next right step.
Instead of the whole 10-step plan.
Exactly. It feels so much more manageable. It breaks down what feels overwhelming into something you can actually do.
Okay, yeah. The next right step. I like that.
And that leads nicely into their final point, really. Taking action.
Right. Getting practical.
Jake suggests doing just one small thing each week that supports your new chapter.
It doesn't have to be massive.
Not at all. Making a phone call, going for a walk maybe to clear your head, creating a vision board. Simple things.
It's something to create momentum. What's the
Well.
psychological benefit there of those small actions?
Well, those small actions, they build a sense of agency.
Okay. Control.
And progress, yeah. Even if it's a tiny step, it reminds you that you're not just passive in the face of change.
You're doing something.
You're actively shaping your future, even in a small way. It shifts the focus from maybe the enormity of the change to what's immediate and achievable right now.
Progress over perfection. Kind of.
Hi, precisely.
So if we boil it all down, Jake and Maya's message seems to be about seeing change not just as an ending, but as a genuine opportunity, a new beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And crucially, they really underscore that we all kind of possess the inner strength to navigate these transitions.
Even when they feel really daunting.
Even then, you have that resilience.
That's a really encouraging takeaway.
It is. And it raises an interesting point, maybe something for you listening to think about.
Okay.
Consider one area in your own life right now where maybe embracing some change, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable, might actually lead to some positive growth down the line.
Just one area.
Yeah. And then, what's just one small initial step you could possibly take this week, not to solve everything, but just an exploratory action?
Just see where it might lead.
Exactly, just to explore that possibility.